let me give you your fancy opening, and then we'll start and we'll jump right into it. I'm not even going to apologize for being late. It's kind of like part of my MO now, isn't it? Oh, good. They changed the entire layout on how this thing's supposed to operate. I love when they change things. Let's put that on loop for a second. Where's your fancy music? What did they do with my music? My coffee, and then I'll be ready to rock and roll, and I apologize. Good morning, cool cats and kittens. All right, let's get to it. So CoreWeave looks like they're going to do the dirty. They're going to buy the company. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I didn't go near this one. To me, Cores, they offered 5 and change. You might as well just short that thing. Looks like just outright pig, right? You might as well make money this morning. Why not? So they really don't like the deal. And you got a bunch of people that are trapped in it because they thought they knew something. They didn't know squat, huh? So the problem here with this kind of name is that they tried to pay $5 before, $5.75. So everybody thinking that they're going to pay like all this money for it. That's not really what happened at all. So I'm just shorting it as we're talking, quite frankly. But usually this stuff, it tends to bonk around, but I think that, you're pretty hit here. Because you got a lot of people that are trapped in it. So it's probably a pretty easy short today on any kind of rally. I'll start it and then look for rallies to short more. If it's accretive, it's one thing. I think they're buying them because they do $1 billion in business with them. And it's a real simple transaction for Coors, like either get acquired or we're going to use somebody else. And it's not really that hard to figure out. So sometimes you have to do a little bit of digging on these things. But, you go to a company like Coors and this is their revenue stream. And like your biggest customer, one of your biggest customers is like, hey, we do XYZ with you. If you don't get acquired by us, we're probably going to find somebody else and we're going to start doing it ourselves. You're probably going to, go at them. So I definitely think there's something to that. I might as well add to that short while we're talking. Why not make more money? Yay. Did you not film me? Oh, that's just mean. We're not playing that today. Boom. Huh? There you go. Who's the winner and got 2 thumbs? Pff, this guy. All right. So what will happen here is you have a lot of people. First, you're not even going to go through the deal, right? The deal's not even going to move it first. What's going to move it at first is all these people that bought it here thinking they knew something that they didn't do any research on. And the problem is, if it pops up, I'll just short more. But the problem with it is, at this point, all these people didn't realize that they tried to buy the company back here for like $5.75, and they said no. But once you're up here, you're being told like, hey, we might pull our deal. And I'm sure there's conversations like that. I mean, the mergers are not the most friendliest things. What I do think when it's done, because they're going to trade in tandem, when it's done, it's probably a good time to start looking at CoreWeave, but CoreWeave really needs to hold that 50, 153, 55. And that this could get really ugly because you have a bunch of people, like they're going to trade in tandem, and you have a bunch of people that bought Coors, the CORZ, and they bought that on a lot of, hopes and dreams that it was going to get bought at like, 20. Like, look at all the people that got all giddy and all excited when they read the deal, and they don't realize like how bad the deal actually is. So lesson learned, and go forward. But I'll make money off of it. All right, so that's the first thing. Second thing that I think we should just talk about is the ES. To me, there's a couple things that I think are really important here. I'm going to get rid of the volume, and we're just going to look at the 5 for a second. And let me just do this while I'm thinking about it and go up there give me a sec, because I want this to go off while we're talking so I don't have to sit here and stare at it and get interrupted. Cool. So if we're looking at something like the ES and just go through where we were and where we are, this is your big level, obviously, right? Like that's your big level. I do think it's interesting that you're already below where you closed and that you're having a tough time trying to get above that. So I do think there's some levels here. I don't know what today is really going to be like, quite frankly. You have a lot of these deals to me these tariff deals that are just a bunch of, I don't know, what do the English say? Bullocks. There's just a bunch of stuff here that's just not really very accurate on where these deals are. I also think we should mark off the 1 o'clock. If we could find that bar. It's probably this one. I think the way it closed would be this one, right? Yeah, there it is. So, and they would be the big ones I would use. And the reason I say that is this is my personal opinion. I don't know that people are going to want to throw in the towel because of some of the dumb things he's saying right now. And I don't know what else to say about them, but like, oh, if you're dealing with BRICS, then you're not with us. Okay, so countries can't have their own currency or their own payment systems. Like, I don't even have a response to that. Like, and I don't think a lot of people are going to have a response to that. So I don't know if it's this, this stupid, I'm going to talk tough thing or what we're doing, but it is what it is. And maybe we should move that here. And I don't know that people are going to put a lot of faith in that. I think they're going to look at it and go, oh gosh, he's going to hit him with tariffs and he's going to do this. How I look at it would be any kind of, these are the levels I would use for the ES today, but how I would view it is, and this is where my head is with it, anything like that's just going to be just talk that's going to get there. On that push down, I actually trimmed the cores. So as soon as it dropped like that, like into this, here, I'll show you why we're talking. So I just wanted to set it up ahead of time. So I knew if it broke 15, it would like be a flash down. So what I do with those is I actually put the level down here to get filled. I got filled on some of that at like 1490. And then I can just leave the rest on forever, or I can just move it to break even. So all I'm doing there is knowing that when you break 15, people are going to panic. And now I can either leave it there, or I could just take the rest off at, whatever. But I'm probably going to trade around it and go from there. Because I do think it could just sell down all day. But whatever. If it pops back up and then rolls back over, I'll do it again. But I think that you have a lot of people that are trapped there. All right, let's get back to the ES. So, but when you guys hear the little British guy talk, I figure I should tell you why. So what I think here is I think you're going to get a lot of headlines, a lot of, the tough talk, the tough rhetoric, and, the taco term. I mean, we're not even on July 9th and the guys are already saying, oh, well, August 1st. So it is what it is, but these are the levels that I would look at. I think the NQ is significantly stronger. I would expect that's the kind of market that we're going to go into. The peak VWAP from up here, you hit it, rejection. You hit it this morning, rejection. I don't think that's more than that. I'm not a huge, let me put VWAPs all over the place and tell about how great VWAP is. That's exhausting. But the pain point areas, yeah, you definitely want to watch those areas and see how they act there. That's 100% true. You definitely want to do that. And this is a great example of that, where you're in a situation here where 100% that's working. So to me, it's working anyway, where, they want to get out. Like whoever bought at that peak is like, no, I need to get out of this. And so when you start to see that kind of stuff, just go, oh, okay, well, if they want out, why am I getting in? And I would use that as a guide today. Like if I had to tell you the one thing that you might want to use as a guide today, hey, can I close over that VWAP? And if the answer is no, well, then you probably want to watch that. And then the other side of that is you probably want to pay attention to the names that are just don't care. And I think it's going to be pretty obvious what those names are today, but that's just me. What do I know? If you start breaking through, you're probably coming to these lows, but how ugly does this get? How much rhetoric does he come out with right now? I really don't know. I really don't know. I was very surprised by the brick rhetoric. Like, once again, it's like, do you want this stuff to be peaceful? Do you want this to, let's just move it all the way over. Do you want this stuff to be peaceful? Do you want this stuff to end? That's not right. Hold on. There it is. Or you just want to keep going with the nonsense. And it seems like we're just going to have more nonsense. Doesn't matter what I say. The huggers and the haters both will just complain, but whatever. But that's how they're the levels how I see it. If I went and took a look at the SPY from this, you're saying is going to see the same exact thing, but I would do the same thing here. I would be just like, oh, well, where's the peak? Oh, here. All right. So do we even get up to that level? Not really. And then just start marking off, well, where'd we close? Right there. You can't even get to it, not even close to it. Trying to hold some of these key levels, but I'm not really sure you're going to hang out up here. You already seem to be rejecting the 5 o'clock level, even though you can't get near it. So, it's not a thing where I'm looking at this and going, or I'm having a ton of faith in it. And, do you mark the high? You can, but you're 30 cents away from there. Are you going to come all the way back down? Are you going to lose 50 basis points today? I don't think so. But weirder things have happened. It really depends on the rhetoric. I mean, here's the thing about it. Other countries, we'll just use July. Other countries really have no intention in ratcheting up the rhetoric. So if any country goes out there and starts ratcheting up the rhetoric, it's going to be a problem. And I think that's really the rub of it. So that's how I would view it. Are they going to ratchet up their rhetoric? And I don't think that they are. I really don't. I think they're like, whatever, man, we just want to move on with our lives. And so it's kind of one of those things. So we'll take a look at these levels and kind of go from there. But that's how I say it. Do you really want to watch this? I mean, you can. But I really think it's boiling down to, what's the bigger one? It's really here where it closed. Like that's really what you want to focus on. And you're more watching the peak than you are watching this. Because if you can't get through the peak VWAP, which is where the pain is, I mean, you have to realize you have to get through the levels where the people have the pain. If you can't get through the levels where the people have the pain, then you really don't have anything there, right? And that's kind of how I view it. So just my 2 cents, but what do I know? What else do I have that's of interest here? Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment. I know there's a bunch of names you guys are going to want me to go through, so I'm going to do them. So something like Tesla. Look, I'll just leave it at this. People are exhausted by it, and I think that's definitely going to be an area of interest. Like people are really freaking exhausted by it, and I just don't think they want to deal with it anymore. I truly don't think they want to deal with it anymore, and I think that's what you're seeing. I just think you're seeing exhaustion. I would say this: whenever we see this stuff where these levels, and these are the big levels that I have, whenever we see this stuff where it's, it's just Elon, and then people say, well, I'm going to buy it because it's just Elon doing stupid Elon things. It does tend to bounce on that. Like here was like super Elon, I'm the best. I'm the reason you got elected, whatever. Right. And then and then more mean tweets. And then we went back up 100 points. I'm going to start a political party because I don't like your political party. My political party is better than your. Okay. So like whenever you see that kind of stuff, people are just, they get sick of it for like a day. And then he comes out and shows you a new robot and then everyone blows it off. Right. Eventually institutions are just going to get sick of it. Maybe, but usually for a day or two, you tend to gap fill. So that's kind of how I would view this. I don't think that like when I come in this morning and you see the news and you saw it last night, you don't really know anything that anybody else doesn't know. So then the question becomes, why would you do what everybody else is doing, which is selling the stock, right? Like you going down 30 points? Are you going down 40 points? Like where are you really going today? Probably not, right? You're probably going to trade around. For all you know, they're going to hug it out later today. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, what was Trump's comment? We don't need another party. I mean, not really the most vicious thing in the world. Called him a train wreck. Didn't really say we're looking into his projects or agreements or anything like that, right? So, and he's a pretty vindictive guy. So you would think if he was really going to do something like that, he might say that. But, there's a lot going on there. That's a real pickle. But that's kind of how I see that. What other names? This SONN is probably one of the most active names out there today. 3 million shares have traded, probably 4 now. The float's 3 million. This little thing's on fire. That's really what I'm going to cover today. I've got about 9 minutes, so I'm going to take a bunch of questions and see how we can get through them as fast as possible. Yeah, the bond auctions are really where it's at. NVIDIA needs that volume. What I would say, I'll go through these because NVIDIA needs that volume. But when you really look at this, you have to ask yourself, like, am I in a situation here where, like to me, you have to ask yourself, am I in a situation where, like, why would somebody sell this today? What's the purpose? Like, why is someone going to blow out the whole trade? Like when you take a step back, John, you like look at that chart, right? Like forget that it's NVIDIA, but if somebody showed you this chart and like forget the candlesticks and someone just showed you this and you're like, oh, is this going up or down? You'd be like, well, that's clearly going up. So, when you have these little pullbacks like this and people get all goofy with it and they're like, oh, I got to get out. Okay. Like, I'll tell you how I always view it. I just view it as, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to day trade or are you trying to swing trade? If you're trying to day trade, you probably have a shot at gap fills today, meaning you pull back and then you kind of go from there. Let me just check out my trade for a second, see what I'm doing here. Oh, there we go. That's beautiful. Come on down. And once you break, where these guys own this thing at? 12. Okay. Let's see the panic start here. How many shares did they buy? Oh boy. We haven't even started yet, have we? Excellent. Okay. So I think it boils down to, John, what are you trying to do? Like, you're going to call the high on it. You need volume, but I think semis are fine. I don't think there's a lot to do there with it. The D-Dog to me is one of those things, like I marked off my levels on it, but I don't think you had a lot of people there. I don't really think you had a lot of people where, let me just get that. No, I don't want to hide that. I want to do this for a second because it's at that point, I have the drawings. This is my sense of it. I don't think a lot of people had D-Dog being added in the S&P on their bingo card. Like, I truly don't think that they did. So for me, looking at it, I think that you still have people out there that need to buy it. I'm not so sure that you really break that low. And I think that gives you a really interesting entry for that. I really do. I think that could be really pretty interesting if it fell apart. I don't know that I want to chase it, but the falling apart could be super interesting. This looks fantastic. It doesn't have a care in the world about anything. Like absolutely nothing. Not a care in the world. You're up 100 points on Ralph Lauren on a, beautiful cup and handle. I mean, there's the cup. Here's your handle. I'm a little teapot. So it's setting up to break out. I think you can see that, right? So I really don't see an issue with it. I mean, here was earnings in May. Whatever they had to say about tariffs, they pulled it off. It worked. I think there's a huge market for them right now. I think people are actually coming back into that form of like dressing anyway. Trading from New York. Good morning. I'm going to be up there in August, I think. Thoughts on RKLB, long-term BA. So I think, is it that time already? Jesus. All right. Thanks, man. Could you move on the fact that they're fighting? Yeah, maybe, but whatever. Do I want to buy it because of that? Probably not. The BA is super interesting, but I'm just waiting for like another shoe. I don't think I'm getting another shoe, quite frankly. And, you are breaking out. So you do have a shot at getting up to that 242 or that 267 here. But I think it's there. I think if you look at XLI and you see like these things breaking out, it's really hard to look at this market and say we're going to collapse. So then the next part of that is, why is that happening? Because the dollar is dropping. And people are always like, well, the dollar's down, so that means it's bad for companies. No, if you're a conglomerate, it's good because they're buying your stuff because it's cheaper. So like to buy a plane, if you're buying a plane and you're in Japan, that plane got a lot cheaper, right? So your $500 million order, right? Just take 10% off of it right there, just because of currency fluctuations. So I mean, Boeing can go, industrials can go, the right ones. Too many names. So let's do it. What's up, Julian? Let's get into it. So trim some more of this while I'm thinking about it. Up $1 on that course, trimmed it. So if you look at something like this, I mean, do you really want to be involved? Like for what purpose? I mean, it's the single greatest short out there in tech by hedge funds, period, bar none, on a percentage basis. Not even close. Like legit, not even close to anything else. Like that's it. So I don't know. I'm going to take a look at this, see what it's doing. If I want to add to it or not. No, just keep hitting new lows. That's fine. But I don't know, man. I'm not feeling that. DPST, I think, is fine. I'm really surprised you went up on Thursday. I really am. I would spend a lot of time learning about stablecoins. I spent a lot of time this weekend learning about it. And I think that people are grossly underestimating that. Good morning from Phoenix. Good morning from Miami. Yeah, I mean, it's red, but is it, it's a lot. Look, you can't come out and say we're going to have all these deals done in 90 days, and then you don't have anything done, and then you're like, we kind of sort of have a deal with India, maybe. Okay. And then, but we're going to just do it. We're going to give everybody until August 1st. Like, okay. Like, dude, get it done. You said you could do it. If you can't do it, then you can't do it. But nobody wants to hear like kicking the can down the line over and over and over again. It's getting old, man. Core weave, you got to wait for the deal to fix itself. OLO. So, I mean, I know a lot of people like, it looks like it got bought out. I don't have the news. It looks like a buyout, honestly. So is that what I'm looking at? It must be a buyout of some sort at some price point, but I don't know it. I think a lot of these names are being grossly overlooked personally, but I don't know that that's the one. Look at what you can't break out of. Like, why do I have to be in that one? There's so many others, Jay, that look like they're going to rip in that space. There's so many others. I go through it this morning. You know what? Give me 1 second. I'm going to go turn this alarm off that's ringing, and I'll be right back. And I'll try and stay. I'll stay for another 5 minutes. Let me just go turn this off real quick. Sorry, guys. I set an alarm in the other room, so I'd have to get up and get it when it hit like 9, so that I would end at 9. But I started super late, so let's just go. I would want to know why it's moving the way that it is. Now, here's where this gets like super interesting with these kinds of names because of what they do. Are they benefiting from the tariffs in some weird way? Like, are they benefiting from the tariffs? And I'll tell you like why you would think that way, right? So ever since that April timeframe, and as the tariffs keep going on, look what this thing's doing. It's just ripping. So are they benefiting from it some weird way? And I don't know the answer to that. So like, what I would do is try to figure out who the biggest customers are. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. And if I can, let's see what we can find. Different holdings. That's not the one. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see if we can find it real quick here. It's just a diversification company. So I don't know. I don't know how they're benefiting from this, but they are somehow. I would want to look more into this and find out what they're doing. Up $1.50 on that. Cores covered some more. Let's just keep going here. See what else we got. I don't know, Ricardo. There's something going on there. Bonjour. Bonjour. Yeah, so they're probably going to convert over, right? So they're probably converting over. I was looking at this chart this weekend because there's a level here. You're going to convert over into a data center, right? You have that level, and then you're right here as well. You need some kind of consolidation and then taking a look at it. But this is really what a lot of these companies need to do. And once they do that, they're going to absolutely unequivocally like slaughter it. I mean, they just really are. They're just going to absolutely kill it. So I do like names that are doing this. Everybody wants to be in the names that are doing this. The question is, do you want to, like, they need to get out of Bitcoin mining and getting into data centers. I mean, that's really where the money's going to be for them now. They're all set up for it. They're like perfect examples of companies that should be in that space. But is this something that I got to do right now? The answer is like, yeah, I mean, you definitely want to do that. But I don't know. You got to rush into this, man. But if you're in already, I would not be getting out of it. Yeah, I feel like that SEZL, we're just waiting for a bad day. What's up, Lise? Happy Monday. Thank you. I think that was a good one. The dollar, you know, I think a lot of people are looking at, I'm going to cover this one. I think a lot of people are looking at this and thinking, oh, that this stuff's done. I'd be super, super careful of that. Like really careful of thinking that this is over. The growth isn't there, but when you really dive into it, you couldn't even break the low or close below this open of, you know, that big down day that we had on the market. Like you can't close below there. So that's your really big level, and it's completely, utterly being blown off. And I really think that's how you should view that. You know, that's how I would view it. AEO, I don't know enough about that one, but I do think you should be looking at some of these names like, you know, some of these names look like they're ready to just rip. Abercrombie, Lulu, like a lot of these names are really beaten down, and I'm not sure. I'm not really sure that they're going to stay down. I'm really not too sure they're going to stay down. I wonder what ON's doing. So I'm not so sure those names stay down much longer. You know, I don't know that you're going to get that breakout that we all think we're going to get. I mean, it's not moving. The NAV is getting tighter and tighter on the name. So I'm not really sure that that's the one that I would look at anymore from that standpoint until the NAV drops. I'm long it, and I've sold puts. So I'm happy with it just staying here. I'm making money every single day, like on it. But I don't know, man. You know, you're not getting that NAV because there's too many others to play now. There just are. Even if they're not as good, it's just taking money away from it. Well, I think that I think that's one of the reasons why Course sold, but who said what's going to 32? What are you even talking about, dude? All right. All right, everyone say goodbye to Ghost. I mean, who takes the time to actually set up an account to come in to like be a pain? It's exhausting. I mean, get a life. Get out of the basement, dude. DGXX. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. I like the chart, but I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. That's interesting. I wonder why. I wonder why. Hold on. I've got 500,000 I can short right now on course. I just looked at IBKR really quickly. There's 500,000 up to 500,000 shares that you could short. I wonder why. I wonder if they let you do it on mergers, or maybe they have more exposure to it somehow, or maybe they're part of the team that's doing the deal with the financing. Sometimes they'll do that if they're like carrying a piece of the bridge loan because it's seen as a conflict of interest, but I don't know. Yeah, I covered it. I mean, I moved those levels. I don't know why it's moving the way it is. It's been on fire for the past 2 days. I like Zim long term. I don't really look at it for any other way. I don't know that you need to be buying Ethereum. I don't know. I'm doing some work on that now, to be quite honest with you. I don't know that that's the move. Circle is definitely worth taking a look at. I think that the most important thing about that is that you're holding in here. You kind of have a VWAP pinch going on, but you're holding that low IPO level, and I think that's really important. Where else are we? Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. I really don't. Like, can you imagine negotiating in good faith the entire time, and then like right when you're coming into the deadline, he's like, "Oh, I'm doing this too." Like, I mean, it's freaking exhausting. Like, wait a minute. Like, India's a BRICS company, and so you're spending all this time negotiating with BRICS with India, and then India's like, "Oh, okay, and we're getting another 10% because of this." Like, at some point, and he's got like, you know, I get it. Everybody wants this market until they don't. So I think yields are going to come down. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. It's not going away, man. That's what I'm wondering too. That's what I'm wondering too. And the other one that I was looking into is Tron. So like when I started really digging into it, Stephen, that's where it started really coming up. Because of the supply issue. Because Ethereum, they just make more of, and then they burn it. I don't know how you would get squeezed there, but some of the others, I don't know that they do the same thing. I'll get into it later, but I think there's something like that out there when I start going through it. But I do think that stablecoin business is going to lift those things up big time. So, all right, I got to jump. Trade to win today, guys.